Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, one more? Okay. You don't have to put the sign here stickers on there, do you?
Well, maybe.
Look, she gave me extras.
Couple of technical issues. We'll be open momentarily.
So, do you want to do these now? Or
No, I'm sure there'll be plenty of bickering. All right, we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 14th business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees. We are coming out of closed session, but I'm going to reopen the open session. Let's call it open at 55. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, once again, thanks for coming by tonight, those of you watching at home. Let's see, did all that pledge. Okay, right now we're considering additions, deletions to tonight's published agenda, and I'm going to begin by adding, like to add consent agenda number 5, which is the financial report for the 33rd District Court, to be added on tonight's consent agenda. Okay, moved by supervisor, seconded by treasurer. Any discussion among the board? None offered. Those in favor of adding consent agenda number 5, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That will be added. Other additions, deletions to tonight's agenda?
I just want to remind people to talk into their microphone.
That will be added to... We're good. Okay. Those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The agenda stands as amended. We'll begin with tonight's presentations. And Mr. Ryan Moore, used to be Bob Brown, remember him well, but Ryan, welcome back. You've been here before.
Yep, I think 4 or 5 years now.
Yep, it's been a while. So brief us on the senior, as we become the oldest community downriver. Tell us why we're glad we're in the Senior Alliance.
Absolutely. So start by saying good evening, Supervisor Loftus, Clerk, Treasurer, and Township Trustees. I want to thank each of you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you tonight about the Senior Alliance. My name is Ryan Moore, and I'm the IT Director for the agency. Once a year, we visit each of our 34 communities to report on the vital services we provide residents in our service area. The local match amount from your community of $1,750 last year helped us provide services noted on the one-page report in your blue packet. Over 65 Grosse Ile residents were served in fiscal year 2017 by the Senior Alliance. The services provided by our agency include but are not limited to the State Health Insurance Program, now known as SHIP, formerly known as MAP, our Medicare Medicaid Assistance Program, is a program available to anyone. Our SHIP team consists of highly trained volunteers who help individuals navigate the complex Medicare and Medicaid systems. These dedicated volunteers provide unbiased one-on-one insurance counseling services. In fiscal year 2017, our SHIP team was able to save almost 7,000 clients in our service area over $1.6 million on their health care insurance. Our Information and Assistance Program receives over 35,000 phone calls a year and helps provide resources and referrals and answer questions. The My Choice Medicaid Waiver Program helps low-income seniors and adults with disabilities receive the long-term support and services they need to stay in their own home. The Nursing Facility Transition Program, which assists qualified individuals transitioning out of a nursing home and back into the community. Our care management and case coordination services provide individuals aged 60 and older with in-home services funded under the Older Americans Act. Our non-emergency transportation program provides rides of last resort. Currently, we have 5 vehicles in our fleet providing this much-needed service. Our nutrition program, commonly known as Meals on Wheels, includes not only home-delivered meals but also congregate sites and liquid nutrition. While we operate a budget of almost $30 million, the Senior Alliance is very proud to report that only 4% of our budget is used for administration. That means 96% of our budget dollars are going directly into the communities we serve. Our audits are unqualified and have no findings, recommendations, or management letters for at least the last 10 years. We thank you for helping us serve older adults and their caregivers. Your long-standing support is greatly appreciated. The Senior Alliance continually works to inform the community of services we offer. If there are any events you would like us to attend and provide information about our services, please feel free to contact us. If you or anyone watching at home would like more information about the Senior Alliance and the programs we provide, please contact us by calling 1-800-815-1112 or by emailing info@thesenioralliance.org. You can also visit our website by going to www.thesenioralliance.org. Again, thank you very much for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Any questions from the board? You left the phone number. If any of our residents, we can get them right through to Senior Alliance?
Yep, I'll leave a phone number, and the easiest way is to Google us on the Senior Alliance. If you can't, if you don't recall the number, I know it's kind of hard when you're watching and it's
I'm wondering,
rambling
do we have a link to that on our website? I think at some point we installed a link to that from our township website, but if it's not there now, we can also
Okay, yeah, we'll double
make
check
that
and
happen.
circle back. Absolutely.
I want to thank you for all that you do. I never thought I'd be 70 years old, but, I listened to these reports like I never did before, so thank you so much
Absolutely.
for everything.
Yes, we
You appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ryan, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sorry, do we have?
Just real quick,
Sure.
I'm Kim O'Farrell, I'm the Recreation Director. But just a note to the board, even for the seniors that are watching, if they can't get all that information, they can contact us as well, so. Forgot to come up here.
That's okay.
Good evening. For all the seniors that are watching, if you didn't get all that information, all our seniors know to call the rec department because we're the link, to help our seniors get transportation and the Meals on Wheels as well, because we do work with the Senior Alliance. So if they want to call the rec department, we can definitely guide them in the right direction as well.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. All right, that's our first presentation. We have another presentation with the plan for road improvement, and that'd be Mr. Bill Kostick. If he's, yeah. I always sit behind that so I can't see him. I don't know who's here or who isn't, but yeah.
Wow.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen.
To the board. Pleased to be here again to talk about roads. I want to introduce Phil Kennedy. Phil's our vice chair, and you probably many of you know Phil, but Phil's been very active, and I asked him to be here tonight with us. You have a copy of a memo, I guess, from our April meeting in front of you, and for the record, I'd just like to state that for months, the DPS Commission has been developing a plan for road improvements and maintenance for township roads. Maintenance is important. It was Phil's idea that we add maintenance so that in addition to improving roads, if we're fortunate to get it approved, we can also provide maintenance on the roads we fix or other roads. And there's all kinds of maintenance functions. Previous road millages that we put forth have failed over the last 10 years. Twice we came to you. And some people say it was due to a lack of voter turnout because they weren't major elections. And of course, the false belief that many residents hold that they're county roads and the county will fix them. Township roads continue to deteriorate at a rate faster than they can be repaired. The DPS Commission has been having monthly discussions on the road conditions around the island. We've received much community input as well. In last August, almost a year ago, we received a report that we put together and gathered the information. It's the Wayne County 2018 Needs Study. It lists their top 100 projects. They do about 17 projects a year. We don't have a project on it. I would add our bridges on it for a couple $1 million, but no road improvements. And there's no road improvement listed for us over the next 5 years. When I talk about a road improvement, resurfacing is basically what we're talking about. In last September, we received from our township engineers a list of road projects and cost estimates for fixing our primary roads. In October, we held a public hearing with some 41 people in attendance, and they were all positive about doing something about the roads. What we're recommending, it's before you, is to levy 2 mills for 12 years. Good roads are an asset to the quality of life on our island. They're a safety issue, and if we continue to let them decline, it's going to affect our property values. And the report that you have, that you've been provided, if we are fortunate enough to get approval for this millage for 12 years, you have a plan that shows in the first 3 to 4 years we hope to improve Church Road, East River Road, several sections of East River, in fact, Meridian Road.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm thinking we could put it on the overhead.
Tonight we're just that's fine if you can. I don't.
Gotcha. Sorry.
I mean, I'm going to ask you before we leave to consider this at maybe one of your meetings in June. And then it would be appropriate we'd make a presentation. And I'd be happy to do it now, but so East River, Ferry, Bellevue, finish West River, Meridian, all of our primary roads. And under this plan, it would still leave us a couple $100,000 a year to do minor repairs on other roads and maintenance. We've thought about this. We've tried to cut it as clean as we could to accomplish something, but the roads all over are just so bad, we felt that we had to go with this recommendation. The recommendation is we put it on the November ballot, and the township managers found out for us that in order to do that, if you put it on the ballot, if you do, then it has to be submitted to the Secretary of State and received by them prior to August 14th. It's our hope that you'll consider this at one of your June meetings. Phil?
I'd just like to add a little bit to what Chairman Kostick presented. A couple ways that we looked at this was levying a smaller millage for a greater period of time, levying a much larger millage that would give us more money up front. And what we finally decided we needed to do was come up with a reasonable millage, which we feel 2 mills is reasonable, and bond a portion of the money. The reason that we would want to bond a portion of the money is, as we speak right now, the roads are continuing to deteriorate. And if we just averaged our millage over a 12-year period, we would barely be keeping up. So we looked at a balance of where we would bond a portion of the money and have more money up front and then be able to get the improvements done. But because as everybody knows, these roads are deteriorating about as quickly as we can keep them patched at this point in time. And the other thing that needs to be considered is that we still have one more winter to go through before any of this money will actually kick in. I mean, the earliest, if we pass the millage in November, we'll have the money to start in 2019 repairing the roads. So I would hope that we would get money from Wayne County, but the answer is what we are getting is pretty much just what one national politician said. We're getting crumbs. And we got $1 million, a one-time $1 million grant, and I think we're in for $380,000 now, of which we have to match 20% of. But that's barely going to keep us able to maintain the roads. So, I mean, right now we have $200,000 a year that we can spend on maintenance, and that just is not adequate. So I hope you'll consider this favorably and look forward to it being put on the ballot.
And one thing I would just add that Phil reminded me, if we do get this approved, as we approached each year and as we approach each project, whether it's Meridian or East River, we will go to the county and meet with them. We'll have to get permits anyway, and ask them to help us with each project. I'm sure they'll make no commitment up front, but it's our intent to go and ask each year. So, and they at least talk to us anyway. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just a couple. Excuse me. You plan on, of course, having public forums prior to the election or the ballot issue hitting the polls so that people understand what we're going to do with this money. And I mean, I can't stress enough how important that's going to be, that we get everybody educated, and we're not just asking for money. We're asking to improve the way of life here, improve property values here. And I think it's ultimately important that we sell it. We really have to get out there and sell it.
Yes, we will do that, and also we intend to put a simple flyer together that we would mail out maybe a couple times 30 days before the election, just to inform people what's in the package. And we had a hard campaign 5 years ago in 2015, or 3 years ago, and if that would have been approved, we'd have many of these roads paved already. But, there was a lot of questions asked, and we asked for a lot of money for a lot of years at
Sure.
that point in time. So,
And my only other will be a comment. Thanks. You guys have worked extremely hard. Your commission has. And you've had the foresight to look forward to issues that we don't even see coming, and they are coming, and they're coming fast. So thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
If I can just make one overhead viewpoint, the county is in a position to put a lot of money into Grosse Ile Township bridges. I think our roads, which don't have a fracture critical safety of that level status, I think that's where our county money is going to be going, or what we could expect for our transportation money from the county would be going to those bridges, and that leaves the roads for a later date unless we fix them. That's just my overhead view on this.
we agree.
Well, and I think probably some of the people that came to your fora might have said the same thing. We look at the cost of a millage, as a tax as being expensive, but just in the last 4 weeks, my family alone replaced 2 rims. And that adds up. And I know I've heard stories from many other residents who've had to have their tire rims replaced because they've hit potholes and shoulders, on our streets and damaged their wheels. And I never realized how expensive those puppies were. So there are additional costs to us residents to having bad roads. And I think you'll probably find more support this time around because of that.
Bill, senior moment, but I think I'll be okay. We had talked about the cost of the millage of the 2 mills on a person's residence. Did we come up with $100,000 SFA? There was a number we talked about.
Well, we will.
Yeah, so that they know.
Information, yes.
Okay, so everybody knows.
Well, I'll defer to the expert. What are we using? $250?
Okay.
So $250 on the average Grosse Ile residential home.
Well,
We do this all the time.
divide that by 12.
Other comments? Mr. Bletcher.
Bill, I have one question. 25 years ago was Pothole USA. We had the bumper stickers out there, and that was kind of the nickname for Grosse Ile. We're redoing the roads. What do you anticipate? And I understand it varies by the severity of the winter, the amount of weight that's on the roads, the salt that we put out there. What would you reasonably anticipate to be the life of a new road, say West River or East River or Meridian? Do you have any idea what that would be?
Well, sure. I mean, the engineers tell you that they want to plan for every primary road at least a 20-year life on it, and hopefully you can get 30 years if you do some maintenance, some crack sealing and joint sealing and so forth. What our proposal is, we asked our engineers several months ago to do a cost estimate to replace most of the roads within the width that they're in except for Church Road. We're going to try to widen Church a couple of feet because it's dangerous for school buses. And what the program is we're going to do 4 inches of milling on each road, 4 inch deep, like planing off the top 4 inches and putting 4 inches of new pavement back. There's one caveat to that. If you look at East River or certain sections of Meridian, West River, where there's failed pavements, and there's several sections where there's a 200 or 300 section of road that just, you can't resurface it. We've budgeted in here 20% or more in each estimate to do base repairs. So that means we would dig it all the way down, get that bad pavement out, and make sure that we have an elevation so that the road runs off, so that drainage isn't seeping under the road, but it's running off. That's short of replacing the whole road and the underlying base, whatever it might be, but it's a good fix. It's a very good fix.
What I'm also hearing, Bill, is that in the past we have relied on Wayne County to do the maintenance on the roads. And from what I'm hearing from you now is you're going to have money in your fund so that we can do more maintenance, not have as much deferred maintenance, if I can use that term, so that these roads will last longer. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we found that crack sealing, joint sealing help a lot. I've been around for at least active with the township for a dozen or more years. Wayne County's never done any maintenance other than pothole patching. We've done crack sealing and joint sealing, and I can think of Ferry Road and certain sections of East River and so forth. But we're not.
So the maintenance may help us keep the roads a lot longer than just what we've experienced in the past.
That's our goal, yes.
Good. Good.
Other questions, comments for our presenters tonight? All right.
Thank
keep
you.
in touch. We'll do what we can.
Hopefully you'll put it on the, I don't know where Mr. Budney is tonight, but I was hoping he would be here and ask you to put it on a meeting in June. So hopefully
We'll be talking. Okay.
Clerk's here.
Okay, that concludes tonight's presentations. At this time, I'll open up to brief public comment on tonight's 3 agenda items. Mrs. Walker.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Let's see if that works. Okay. The reason I'm going to mention... Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's got a lot of question marks on it. My comments are regarding the action item 1, Smokey's Restaurant Consult Agreement. I assume that's forgiveness. I don't know, but I assume it. And my question to you is, if you are going to forgive outstanding debt, I think it would be helpful and transparent if you would show what's missing, what they're in arrears, such as security deposit, electrical, and I'll go through this. For 60 months, which is the term of the contract, which I read, it's $247,500. Through the 29 months, we should have received $112,800, $49,500 in 2016, $49,500 in 2017, and through May, $13,800. Be interesting to know how much of that we have received. Be interesting to know if we received the $5,000 security deposit we were supposed to get in 2016. Be interesting to know if we have gotten any and how much electrical for the 2017 and 2018 obligation, if we got any of the gas obligation for 2018, if we got the water and sewer for those 3 years, and if we got late fees and interest. There might be more things, I don't know, but those are my points. I also would like to know, are the guarantors, the 3 guarantors, getting a salary, which kind of makes a difference if you're going to forgive somebody? Are they still making money? Are they taking money and making it while they're asking for forgiveness? Assignments and subleases, I read through that. I don't know if that's even a question on this. Again, I'm flying blind since we have to make our comments ahead of time. And if the guarantor is admitted in writing inability to pay the debt as they became due, why didn't we do more quickly? I think that might have been something important. And if you are going to do 2 forgivenesses, the forgiveness of the debt of the corporation and the forgiveness of the personal guarantees, you are really not acting in the best interest of the residents and taxpayers, because down the road they might get some money, and it'd be nice if we could get it back. I don't know how much you're going to forgive, but I'd like to see it in detail, not a lump sum. I'd like to also see I'd like to know how many months the tenants will stay after you've forgiven this. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Other comment on tonight's? Yes, sir.
My name is Mark Graziola. I'm a resident of Groseal. I've been here for 27 years. Prior to this time, I lived in Riverview. And about Well, the last millage on the roads, I was surprised that it failed. And so I started attending some Public Service Commission meetings about 6 months ago and supporting what Bill has put together. Groseal is a great community to live in. It's got excellent schools, number one in the state on safety, and our roads are absolutely horrible. I drive regularly Church. I live on Knutson between Ferry and Church, and I drive Church. I drive East River. I won't drive West River, and I drive Meridian, and it just continues to get worse. So, and I've been looking at what Bill's been doing. A couple of things I looked at was other communities. What are they doing? Well, there's a lot of communities in Michigan are in the same position. They're not getting support from the state or their counties, and they're taking the bull by the horns and doing it themselves. And the other point was that the maintenance, future maintenance, when you get the cracks in the road, you got to fill the cracks with tar or whatever material they're using, and we'll keep the roads going. The other thing, too, is taxation. And talking to people about the roads, they talk about, a lot of taxes. We don't like taxes. Well, none of us do. But where are we going to get money to fix the roads? And so I looked at the millage rates for the communities in the downriver area, and I found out Groseal is the lowest. And I came from Riverview, and they're about 1 mil above us. But, of course, they have a landfill. But then you start getting to other communities. I think Southgate was about 50. So, yes, we pay taxes, but I think a lot of the taxes are because of the value of our homes. We have probably the highest value in the downriver area. So, that's just a fact. So I want to just go on record as supporting Bill and the commission on this road proposal. I've looked, there's 11 miles that they're proposing. 11 segments. They're trying to do it in a quicker point of time by using the bonding. And I've actually driven those 11 miles just to get a view. I did drive West River, but I stay out of there now. But so I just want to go on record for that.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Other comment, public comment on tonight's agenda items? Can't see everybody. Okay, with none offered, we will move on to tonight's consent agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
I'm looking for support on consent agenda 18-021. That includes the minutes of the April 23rd, 2018 regular meeting. The check register dated through April 6th, 2018. Approval to process and distribute payments through June 1st, 2018. Island Beautification Committee appointment, and approval of the 33rd District Court financial report.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Van Oss, seconded by Trustee Bletcher. Any comments among the board on tonight's consent agenda? With none offered, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The consent agenda stands approved. Tonight's action items. Mr. Nelson.
Looking for support to authorize the Township Attorney to file suit and enter into a consent judgment with MMC Company, LLC, a.k.a. Smokies on the Water, for the Water's Edge Restaurant Facility to solve outstanding lease matters.
I'll support. So moved by Trustee Nelson and seconded by Supervisor Loftus. Who wants to...
You want me to read the history?
Let's give the history, and
okay.
If we need to bring
okay.
other
okay.
topics.
Last fall, Smokies on the Water approached the Township requesting a lease amendment to lower the rental payments. It appeared that the framework for an amendment was reached. However, the tenant had to address other internal matters that interfered with an amendment. At the board's direction, a notice to quit was filed for eviction in January. After the April 9th board meeting, a new notice to quit was served. Since that time, negotiations continued with Smokies. The tenant agreed to pay rent in the amount of $7,800 a month from May to September, due the 15th of the month. pay no utilities, and at the end of the summer season, renegotiate new terms into the future or vacate the premises by December 31st, 2018. After the April 9th board meeting, a notice to quit was served at the attorney's recommendations. Smokies has since paid $2,000 toward the proposed May rent, and we received a check today for $5,800. So, providing that check is good, they are current with their May rent. The tenant is behind in rent and utilities the past year and a quarter in the amount of $24,917 plus penalties under the terms of the original lease. Electric, $12,350 and 17, electric $3,079 and 18, and gas $29.38 and 18, and rent $65.50. This agreement guarantees the township $39,000 in rent and forgives the past due amount for rent and utilities. By entering into a consent judgment, the township can immediately proceed with the eviction process. This course of action was recommended by legal counsel. Also, should the tenant violate the agreement by the township, may seek damages.
Well, this was the topic of tonight's closed session. We covered a lot of territory. Unfortunately, because we did discuss it in closed, it has to stay closed. Kind of the short version, here we go again, a couple of bad options, and we picked the board. We're petitioning the board to pick what we consider the best bad option. Ms. O'Farrell, do you want to? Who can? What degrees do we want to elaborate to the public? We're nothing to add. With that, again, the board discussed this at length and that confidential environment. So if the board doesn't, we are where we are. So with that, those in favor, any comment before I enter the vote? And with that, move to authorize the township attorney to file suit and enter a consent judgment with MMC Company, LLC, a.k.a. Smokies on the Water, for the Water's Edge Restaurant facility to solve outstanding lease matters. Those in favor, please signify. And this is a lease, so I would do a roll call vote on this. Sorry, Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Supervisor, aye. Mr. Treasurer?
Aye.
Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Mr. Bletcher?
Nay.
That motion carries on the roll call vote. We move on. Thank you. Action item number 2, Ms. O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I would like to make a motion to appoint Brian C. Friel as the full-time at-will clerk's office manager at an annual salary of $54,000, and further, upon approval, to acknowledge that Clerk O'Connor appoints Mr. Friel to serve as her deputy clerk. I got support. I want to say the appointment is a statutory requirement and is made without additional compensation.
So what we're looking for support for is the office manager position.
Office manager position.
Okay, so we'll move by Clerk O'Connor and seconded by the treasurer to promote Mr. Friel as the at-will clerk's office manager position. Discussion among the board. Madam Clerk.
Well, so as you recall from our last meeting, longtime deputy clerk's office manager Sharon Gray is retiring as of May 31st, and she and I have had the honor of training who we believe will be an excellent replacement, and that will be Mr. Friel. He's worked in our office for over 14 years and has all of the necessary training and credentials. He has knowledge of the community. He has knowledge of the process. Indeed, he either wrote or co-wrote many of the policies under which we operate and run our election cycle. He has worked with Mrs. Gray on records retention and all the other aspects of the job that he did not do on a daily basis. And he has won our confidence in going forward. I don't think by going out into the greater world we can find a better candidate, one that we also then know and trust as we do Mr. Friel. I also, throughout the day, of course, talked to each of my colleagues on the board, and I promised that I would tell Mr. Budney, who could not be here tonight, to convey to the board and to the public that he is fully in support of this appointment, and that Mr. Friel, he has 100% confidence in you. And so I would strongly recommend to my colleagues that we accept this appointment for Mr. Friel.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Other comment among the board?
Mr. Supervisor, I said when we were considering the appointment of Lorinda Beneteau as the full-time permanent director, the most important decision any employer can ever make is hiring an employee. We have a 14-year probationary period here that seems perhaps the longest I've ever seen. I see no reason whatsoever why we should take a risk, a gamble on going with somebody that's on the outside. Brian has proven that he can do the job. Uta, you've spoken very, very well of him, as has Sharon. I see no reason to take a chance on somebody who is not going to do as good a job as Brian, and I don't see, based on what I've seen and what I've heard, we're going to find anybody that will do as good or better than Brian. I would urge the board to accept his employment application, the resume, and bring him on board as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Bletcher. Other comments from the board? Okay. None offered. Those in favor of appointing Brian, the newly appointed Deputy Clerk, Brian Friel, as the full-time at-will Clerk's Office Manager. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. Welcome aboard, Mr. Friel. Okay, let's see. Move on to action. Action item number 3. Recommend the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees levy on the taxable value of said township for the year 2018 for the tax billing period of summer 2018, a tax of 4.5000 mils on the taxable value thereof, said value being $606,287,567. Okay, moved by the supervisor, seconded by the treasurer. We have to do this for every time a millage comes up. We have to put it on the ballot the board has to approve it to put it on the ballot for the voters to approve. The sanitary sewer evaluation system debt levy funded the sewer reconstruction project back in 2001. Passed by township voters on November 6, 2001. The history of the levy is as follows. 2002 was half a mil. 2003, 0.65. This is as the construction was going on. 2004, 2.25. Eventually getting up to the 4.5 mils in 2011, where we are today. This millage expires in 2021, which, as an aside, will make the road millage seem a lot less a less difficult pill to swallow. The township is required to levy the required millage to fund the debt payment due each fiscal year. The annual summer tax bill collects Wayne County operating millage, approximately half the Grosse Ile Township school millage for 2018, and the full state education tax millage of 6 mils. Any other information required?
Just
treasurer.
The only comment I want to make is this millage is your sewer project. It started in 2001, 2002, and culminated probably 14 or 15. And we took a bond issue out that was passed by the voters to put this on bond. Otherwise, it would have had to go on services. And your water bill would probably be about 200 times higher than it is right now, maybe higher. So that's the reason for this. This is all sewer project, and the bond has already been approved. So that's all.
Hey, thank you, sir. Other comments from the board? This is the cost of doing business. With that, those in favor, I guess I got to read the resolution. Since this is a resolution, Resolution to set the 2018 tax levy of the 2018 summer collection for the Township of Grosse Ile. Resolved by the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees that there be levied on the taxable property of said township for the year 2018, the 2018 summer tax collection, for township purposes, a tax of 4.500 mils on the taxable value thereof, said value being $606,287,567. And the voted millage will be 4.500 mils for the sanitary sewer value system. Total debt, 4.5 mils. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? None offered? Thank you. You can keep your toilets flushing. That concludes tonight's action items.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
You'll just have to sign those, right? We have to sign all the documents on the dotted line. Just a few things. At our last board meeting, we had a resolution to accept the resignation of our my long-term colleague and sidekick, Sharon Gray, and I just want to thank her again for all the great work that she's done over the years. And I want to thank everyone on this board for supporting Brian in taking over that role. No one really notices what we do until it goes wrong. And so for the most part, nobody notices what we do. But elections are a big part of what we do, and they're very important. But there are many other aspects of the job that people don't even consider, and they're required by state law. And so just by way of history, too, because we have a part-time elected board, most of the statutory duties of the elected officials have been transferred to full-time professional administrative staff. And that is why we have a clerk's office manager, a treasurer's office manager, and a township manager, because they handle the jobs of these political functions without danger of being willy-nilly taken off the job by political whims. So the deputy function comes as an honor, I like to hope, but it does not make the position. It is strictly to act as substitute for the actual official. They have no vote on the board or anything of that sort. So that is why we have that split or that dichotomy. So that said, my two wonderful colleagues have once again prepared a clerk's report. And so the last date to register a new voter for the August primary is July 9th, 2018. New voters who believe they will need to vote by absentee ballot must register in person at the clerk's office or at the Secretary of State's office by July 9th. They must appear in person with a photo identification to the local clerk or Secretary of State's office no later than August 4th in order to receive ballots by mail, if registered by mail or at a voter registration drive. This is important to recent high school grads who are going off to college and who are registered to vote and think that we will happily mail them an absent voter ballot, but if they have never voted in person, unless we have validated their identification with a personal appearance and photo ID, we cannot send them an absent voter ballot. And so that voter will have to come home. If they go to Michigan State or U of M, that might not be so hard. But if they're, Michigan Tech or somewhere more far afield, Harvard or Notre Dame, that might not be so easy. We would like to remind people who are voting by absent voter ballot to allow ample time for the ballots to reach you by mail and to mail your voted ballots back to the clerk's office prior to Election Day, August 7th. They can be dropped off here in person. We have a mail slot on the counter. You can also drop them into the treasurer's box outside of Township Hall. This is also important to military or overseas voters. Make sure that there is time for the ballot not only to reach you, but for your ballot to get back to us so that it can be counted. Absent voter ballots will be available in our office in early July. Wayne County residents who are interested in working as election inspectors, we encourage you to contact our office by mid-June because we will be making the assignments around that time for the August primary election. We have some retirements happening in our poll inspector ranks, and so we are looking to bring in new poll inspectors. So please consider joining us. We do pay you for the effort, and we feed you. Mind you, the people at the bakery and at Kroger know it's election day because there we are buying the 3 essentials: sugar, fat, and caffeine. Right? Donuts, pizza, and pop. One last thing, those pop bottles translate into dollars, and as a mom of a senior rower, I want to thank all the residents who did support our kids on that blustery day last Saturday when they combed the island literally door to door asking for your bottles and cans. And that fundraising drive is vital to their operations, and not only does it show you how dedicated these kids and their parents are, but it also shows how great the support of the community is for that program, and I personally want to thank you. And that's it for the clerk's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That bottle drive, that is a well-oiled machine. They're in there almost at company strength, and just give them your cans and get out of the way.
You've seen the Singlinator, right? The way they process the bottles and cans.
I thought I was going to lose a hand.
They were standing underneath the tents. We now have tents, and they set up an assembly line, and one volunteer just rolls the bottles along the row, and every stretch along the way is a brand or a type of bottle or can, and they get put into the bags. And this was invented by the Singlin family. And I also want to thank Discount Drinks because they've been very generous with receiving a very large part of our bottles and cans, as has the local Kroger. If you've made the decision to return your own bottles and cans while we're monopolizing the return machines, so it's a well-oiled machine, except they're not well-oiled until after the work is done.
Anyway, once again, thank you, and we'll move on to Treasurer's report. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Brian. The April investment report for Grosse Ile is not available at this time. We're putting it together. All the information on your investments can be viewed online on my website. All 2017 unpaid property taxes are now considered delinquent and must be now paid through Wayne County. Wayne County's letters requesting payment for delinquent taxes have been mailed in early June. If you get one of these letters, they probably mean business, and if you don't respond to it, as has happened on a couple of occasions, they'll sell your house. They have absolutely no qualms. And then it becomes a very difficult process to get. So if you get a letter like this, whether it be for whatever reason, and you don't know what to do with it, come on down and talk to me or talk to Annette. Annette will walk you through the process to ensure that there's no surprises at the end of the road. The delinquent tax information is available online at Wayne County website for delinquent taxes. Dog park passes are available in Treasurer's office for $10 for residents, $20 for non-residents. To obtain a pass, residents must have current vet pet license, and non-residents must provide proof of current rabies vaccinations. The Commerce Park Commission will meet next Monday. There's a couple issues that we're dealing with. We encourage the public to attend those meetings. And I have, we're having our Citizen of the Year dinner at the Grosse Ile Rotary Club on Thursday at the Grosse Ile Yacht Club. You can attend. I believe the fee is $30, and shake hands with the new Citizen of the Year. I won't divulge who that is yet because I don't know exactly what the process is. But if you'd like to go, please contact me or anybody in the Rotary Club, and they'll see that you get added to the list. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. We'll move on to trustee reports. Mr. Bletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I have the privilege of sitting on two different commissions. The first, Open Space Greenways, in alphabetical order. We continue to pursue purchase of, making offers on the purchase of 2 parcels, and still optimistic that will be done forthwith. The second commission I have the privilege of sitting on is the Police Commission, and we're preparing for the participation in Island Fest this year. Last year we had, by most consensus estimates, approximately 20,000 people that attended the fireworks, and we're hoping that they are all very well behaved this year, but Chief Porcerelli has plans for everyone who's not. And that's the end of my reports.
Thank you, Mr. Bletcher. Mr. Nelson.
I don't have my real report, except Kim O'Farrell is here, and without her I couldn't survive. So, Kim, can you update us on Rec and Island Fest, please? Thank you. She's a lot more fun to look at than me, so it's okay that she does this.
They were in Canada. Sorry.
Good evening. Just reaching out to the residents. This did hit the mail last week. We had a couple of calls saying, "Where's Channels? Where's Channels?" This is Channels. So this is the front cover. And no, that is not me. Everybody thinks that's me. It's not me. So, but I'm just real proud to introduce this to the community. We've had several calls and compliments. It's very easy to read, navigate. There's triple, I think, what we had last year in this brochure. So, the rec department is working hard for the community. We are working together as a team to bring the programs to the residents of this island. So if you go through it and you have a question about something, please call the department. Annette and I are there every single day. So I just want to highlight a couple of the big things that we're working on. I'm really trying to promote summer camp. Our registration is very, very low. I met with the state of Michigan today for 4 hours. I'm working to get summer camp licensed. We are 80% there. So for the parents that are watching tonight and are concerned about this being a new program, I am following every protocol through the state of Michigan to make sure that we are a licensed summer camp. There's forms, there's CPR, first aid. There is a lot of things involved with the summer camp. I've had parents call me and ask me lots of questions as well. And I encourage parents to call if you're not sure about this program, because it's new and parents are, kind of scared what's happening. I am there every day to answer those questions. Some of the concerns are, do we have before and after care? I am taking a list right now. Before care would be like a 7:30 a.m. drop-off and a 5 o'clock p.m. pickup. I have 4 people that are in need of that. Obviously, I have to make that work. This is our pilot program, so the more people that register, we have to get this thing off the ground. This is the one-time chance where you can keep your kids on the island for the summer. What more could you ask for? So I've got 90% of the staff hired. Danielle is our camp director. She is fantastic. She is a school teacher, kindergarten teacher, by the way. And she and I are just working really, really hard on this for the residents. So any questions, thoughts, concerns, you can actually register online right now. Please give me a call and I will answer those, everything that I got. So I just wanted to introduce that again tonight. This is our other big one. I think some of the residents have gone, if not Township board members have gone to this. I'm not sure, but for those of you that don't know cardio drumming, this is the new and upcoming thing. We don't have treadmills. We don't have weight machines on this island for our residents to use. We don't have a fitness center. So for those moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas that are looking to do something active, this is the class for you. It is fun. You go in there and you're banging drumsticks, and it's pretty cool. So, look at our fitness menu. We're trying to bring these new programs. I did a lot of this stuff in Ohio, and you got to try it. I mean, the time's a little odd. We're going to see how this goes. I would hope to have this class in the fall as well for working moms and dads, more like at the 6 or 7 o'clock hour. So it's kind of new, but it's fun. So check it out. And then also the Festival Commission is meeting this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Little update on Festival. I hear it from Chad Daly. We need volunteers. Help, help, help. So, definitely please, we need the sponsorship. We need the volunteers. I'm working with both chiefs on safety just to make sure we have all of our avenues covered for, the 72 hours that we have this event. And also working with the commission, just safety is number one. We have a lot of people coming over. Last year I came in right into the fire and it was already set and I'm running around myself. But a little bit more involved this year, making sure things are running properly. So if you'd like to come, festival is this Wednesday at 7. And then also the Community Recreation Commission. We do have a full commission. Proud to announce that. We'll be meeting May 24th at 7 p.m. And then for those that are social media savvy, the Grosse Ile Recreation Facebook page, that is live, and that is going to be the most current information that I can feed to the residents with things that are going on. And you always wonder who's the person posting on Grosse Ile Rec. That's myself. I am John Smith. So if you see a John Smith post, that's your director. I'm trying to get that current information to the residents as fast as I can with recreation. I also try to relay some township information on that page. We are up to 375 followers, which is pretty good for a couple of months. So if you want to keep up with recreation, here's the cover. Is that coming in? Because I believe there's 2 Grosse Ile Recreation, so I want to make sure you hit this one. This is the one that we are operating. I think there's 2 out there, and the other one's not us. Okay. Any questions from the board?
Mrs. O'Farrell, could you put the channels replacement cover back on there? Please. Kathy, I swear if that was a wee kayak bumper sticker on the side of that lady would be you.
It should be. It should be. Next year.
Next year?
Get a better spot.
Thank you, Miss O'Farrell.
That's all I have.
I have one thing.
Yes.
The old channels and the new channels, didn't we save money by having the new channels over what we paid for the old channels?
Yeah, we're saving about, I believe it's $800, and we're doing 4 of these a year.
Okay.
So there is a savings, and obviously you can
Great quality. Yep.
great quality. So I do actually. You made me think of something. There is a couple of errors in here. There's always errors when you do a first publication, and I should bring those up. And I did put that on our Facebook page. But the luau party, that's one of our big ones. July 19th is not a Wednesday. It's a Thursday. So the luau is Wednesday, July 18th. We do have a lot of people that attend that. So I wanted to point that out. That's one of the big ones. And then also I've gotten a few calls on some of the programs that were listed, and I will point that out tonight. If you see Boys and Girls Soccer Camp, See where it says ages 1 through 8? No, that's grades 1 through 8. So, there are some typos, and it happens, and we're getting better at that. But obviously, common sense would say, well, a 1-year-old can't really do soccer camp, so just kind of follow the rule of thumb, and it is grades 1 through 8. So, so when you're going through there and you have questions, use your common sense. So, and that's all.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks. Thank you, Ms. O'Farrell. With that, let's see. Move on to Township Attorney's Report. Mr. Sorty? Not yet. Huh? Mr. Riem?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. A few brief items. Deputy Clerk Gray, last official meeting. Congratulations on your retirement. Mr. Frio, congratulations on your appointment. Those of you that have been down West River Road lately, from Church Road south to Ferry, that's been changed to one-way. The DPS Water Main Road project has begun, and we fully expect them to start installing pipe probably within the next few days. And if you've noticed, on the other side of the river across from Elizabeth Park entrance, there's a staging area. That's because of the weight limits on the bridge. The contractor's staging there. So we are making progress, and we're looking forward to that project being completed, obviously. Township offices will be closed Monday, May 28th in observance of Memorial Day. And the last item I want to remind everyone is, what is the Township of Groseal's official communication network? That is meeting tonight. We are on TV. Our website, groseal.com. Our app, Groseal Connect. We now have 6,200 and some. Obviously, we do the push notifications. Police and fire, on the emergency side, we have Code Red, and that's the reverse 911, which goes to every household and every subscriber. So if you want to have your devices part of the Code Red, you have to go online and register that. And then we also have Groseal Facebooks. We have the official Township Facebook. The supervisor has a Facebook. Rec has a Facebook. Police has a Facebook. So when we put something on Groseal Connect, it goes to those. And then GITV not only is meetings, but we have the bulletin board and AM 1700. Okay, and the reason I say this is 2 weeks ago when Wayne County abruptly told us about the Parkway bridge closure because of the West River overpass, we did implement those items, and we did the Code Red call that afternoon because we felt it was short notice at emergency. But those are our official chains of communication, and I just wanted to remind everyone that, as well as the board. So we have a lot of great tools at our disposal because of the efforts of the police department, the fire department, as well as the board. So if you do not have Groseal Connect, I highly recommend it. We did learn it's not funny, but it is. Some people have downloaded it, but they forgot to allow notifications. It's technology, and it is it can be frustrating. So, but with that in mind, yes.
You might also, being a bit wary, you also need to allow it to know your location. I was wondering why I was not getting the weather alerts. It's because it didn't know where I was. And so once you click allow notifications, you also have to allow location services when the app is in use. Okay. So just so people know.
You're on the side of the road changing your flat tire. We know where you were. Dale, I have two questions, if I may.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the West River project, starting north to south, when do you anticipate Assuming weather is average, it's not too wet or anything else, when would you expect that project to be fully completed?
October.
If the county, second question, if the county comes in and says, we have that report that was due last August, and we're going to start working on the bridge, and it's the middle of July or the middle of August, how do we work that continuing project with the staging area there, and then everything coming over across a bridge that may or may not be closed?
If we were confronted with that challenge, that decision would be to be determined.
Okay.
And I'm sure Mr. Supervisor King will talk a little bit about bridges in his report. So
I'm just anticipating questions.
Definitely a question that we have already asked.
Good.
Definitely.
Good.
So related to the app, it was, I believe, a year ago, February, we updated to version 6. And on an annual basis, that's part of our issue. And we're reviewing upgrading to version 7 right now. As explained to us, the difference between version 6 and version 7 is specifically related to how we, as a user, the township, we have a vendor, we contract with the company, how we set the front page, things of that nature. It's kind of a formatting, it's updated. So we would have a lot more ability to change pictures, we could post videos. It's kind of one of the latest and greatest things. So we are evaluating that right now. You can also post a push notification at noon on Friday. And you can type that in today, get it all set up, and it'll automatically happen. There was conversations about whether or not version 6, version 7 made a big difference, whether it was an Android, whether it was a Apple product. None. Zip, zero, zilch. Number 7 makes no difference between those two platforms. Neither does number 6. And I specifically asked that question because of some of the questions that have been asking me over the past several months. So that's the technology as we have it now. And we are making practice when we do a push notification, we're also going to post it under the notice button. So that's every device is different. Some stays there, some it disappears once you read it. Sometimes you swipe it and you miss it. Sometimes you send one, an hour later send another, you don't see the first one. Devices are different. I have an Apple device, it shows them both. I have an Android device, only shows the last one. So all those things we're sharing with the vendor so they can hopefully make that a better product too. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riem. See if I can wrap this up with some good news and some official news. Start with what I consider the good news. I was at the Grosse Ile Nature Land Conservancy 25th anniversary dinner and recognition Saturday night. It was across at Elizabeth Park at the Chateau on the River in the Wayne County Pavilion. Just a nice evening with a great bunch of people. The Nature and Land Conservancy, they kind of fly under the radar. They get things done. So stop by and see Sunrise Park. Miss O'Farrell's shown a few clips from there. A lot of work going on. A lot of it donated volunteer work. The other one I recommend, and again, this is being stewarded by the Nature and Land Conservancy, is the Wildlife Refuge Unit, the Gibraltar Bay Unit. Take a walk there some morning and just listen how noisy all the birds are. It's just a cacophony. And then as the sun comes up and they settle down to their daily routine, but you could be in a remote part of the woods but 2 minutes from home. You don't have to cross. Well, you have to cross one bridge to get there. I recommend volunteering when you see their volunteer offerings and just take advantage of what they're doing. So that was a very enjoyable evening. Okay, so bridge stuff. We got the very short notice on the 24th, and the next day, I headed up to I was scheduled to be at the Townships Association conference. So I managed to get across the bridge before they closed it at 9:30, and then spent the rest of the day on the phone. But what I came away with, just with probably 15 phone calls that day, was how much I didn't need to be there. The manager got the information out to all the appropriate agencies. We had a little bit of heads up from the night before, but here's what goes on behind the scenes. Dale is working hard to get the information out, getting everybody notified. DPS has to step in. If we have contractors coming across, what routes are they going to take? What weight limits? Lorinda and John work on getting those people notified, getting them where they need to be, getting them where they are, keeping them away where they don't need to be. Chief Porcerelli is working out traffic light arrangements, keeping dispatch advised of how we're going to route people. For your fire department, your fire chief is making sure the ambulances can get to the victims. We can get the fire and the rescue equipment, get it off the island by the most expeditious route if we need to make a hospital run. We have to notify schools. They're going to have to reroute their buses. They need to know that right away. So it was a huge undertaking, especially on such short notice, and I was just incredibly proud of how everybody in this township staff stepped up, got the job done, make the impact as little as possible on your daily lives. But continuing, as Mr. Riem referred to, our official means of communication, I'm not going to post rumors. I will, if I see a rumor is blatantly false, I'll make an effort to correct it. But if I post something, if you see something on a township official communication platform, it's what we get from Wayne County. They're Wayne County bridges. All the bridges, except for the Grosse Ile Toll Bridge and the bridge to Hickory Island, are all county bridges. I think there are 14 of them internal in the island. So this is what I have. This is dated May 11th. And I'll just read. This is from Whitney Lewis, who is the Director of Communications and Community Outreach. So here's her response. There was not a structural issue or relation to the recent earthquake that caused the closure of the West River Bridge. The closure is due to the type of design, DAPT end design of the bridge, and needed to do an analysis of the bridge through a detailed inspection. The inspection is presently ongoing. Once we have the results of the inspection, we will know what our options are regarding rehabilitation or replacement. When will West River Road be reopened again? The inspection is presently ongoing. We'll try to rehabilitate or reconstruct West River Bridge in conjunction with the closure of the Swing Bridge, which is tentatively scheduled to begin in August of 2018 for rehabilitation of the foundations. A construction schedule for the Swing Bridge is not available at this time. And in the main span, the inspection reports and plans. The inspection report should be completed in about 2 weeks. Once the inspection reports have been reviewed, plans for repair to West River Road will begin and will soon thereafter be released to the public. Plans for repair could take 2 to 3 months after a designer is selected. It is our commitment to inform the public on the progress and status as we make plans. That is their official release. We have a meeting with most of Wayne County DPS on June 4th. And hopefully we'll have much more information to give to you at that time. That is, we will tell you what Wayne County tells us about their bridges. Wish I had better news. That's what I know. You'll know when I know it. And that concludes my report. With that, I will open it to open the mic to public comment on anything. Mrs. Walker.
Now the happy talk. Yes, Carl, I agree with you. The cover of this magazine should have a kayak. It really should, and I'm sure next year, maybe. But anyways, in 15 days, our 6th season starts, which we're all pretty excited about. I think it'll be great. Kim is going to take care of putting our carpeting down because she put it away safely, and that's all we need. And if it stops raining, we'll be great. We're having Blessing of the Fleet, 3rd annual, and this year we're doing something a little different. We're going to have the Grosse Ile Children's Choir. That ought to fill the seats with the parents. And come on down with them, and it'll be very nice. I've been working with Dr. Parker. So every year we're going to have a little bit of different thing. It's on the 12th, and it's free. There's no cost to Grow Seal. I write the check. So anyways, we're looking forward to it, and we hope, again, that next year this might be moved to this spot. And it's a beautiful magazine. I'm really impressed by it. I mean, I've looked at the ones in the past. Some of them you didn't even want to open. This is just, Robin Morey does a nice job. And so did you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Other public comment? Mr. Heil.
I'd like to make two brief observations. They're both related in a way. We all can recall, I don't know how many months ago, but there was a fellow here from Plant Moran talking about, in that occasion, pensions. A long, enduring concern, no one magic silver bullet that would solve things. What we needed to do was save a nickel here and a dime there, and it would add up to $1 for the future. And tonight I think that there's two things here that I'd bring up that might help in illustrating how we could find ways for economies, or suggestions that neither one of them is huge. But we've had conversation tonight about Smokies. And Smokies was the successor of Sharkies. But both of them have been situations where things have not turned out as well as we might have long-term hoped. Maybe we need to look at those nickels and dimes more carefully and either help them in operating a different way or considering not doing it. But whatever we've been doing so far isn't getting us where we'd like to go. It isn't running us into bankruptcy, but if you keep adding it up, things that help, help. The other issue is with the I'm groping for words here. I don't want to be nailed into the ground. The animosities over tails and our dogs. I mean, the dog pound. I've had experience with both groups. They're wonderful people. They have a wonderful goal for the world. They'd like to help animals. And I would hope that we could find a way somehow to unite in that and then let bygones be bygones and work to benefit it that way. You can go down Macomb Street and you'll see at any given time a large number of people with pets on their leads. And I can almost guarantee you, because I've owned so many dogs, that not one of them, if they've had that dog 10 years, hasn't had it accidentally get off sometime, and someone has helped them when they've needed the help. And I wouldn't want to see animosities forego the wonderful benefits that these dedicated. I've got to stop on this. They move me to tears. You've seen me do that before. But again, there's money to be saved in that. And that was the motive for that. And I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Heil. Other comments from the public? If anybody's, I can't see past the. With none offered, I will take a vote to adjourn once again to closed session. And in fact, I move we adjourn the public portion of the meeting, and I'll move we vote to go into closed session.
Support.
Okay, moved by Supervisor, seconded by Trustee Bletcher. Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Mr. Treasurer?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We will take a short break and then begin a closed session. Let's make it about 20 past in the upstairs boardroom. Thanks for coming, everyone, tonight. And I'll